Hello everybody, I am Dr. Dvipika Garg and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you are seeing this video, it means you have liked my previous videos and you have subscribed to my channel. In case you have not, then you can do it now. Okay, so today the topic for discussion is cephalometrics. Cephalometrics is one topic which we all dread in our final year of BDS. At least I used to. But yes, my teachers taught me so well that yes, I'm here today teaching you people cephalometry. Today, basically, we would be covering the basic concepts of it, and each and every cephalometric analysis would be covered in detail, in depth in the upcoming videos. But before we start with the analysis, we have to be very sure that we are extremely thorough with the basic concepts of cephalometry. Right, so basic concepts would be covered first and then all the analysis would be covered. All you people need to do is open my videos and start revising up your concepts. Right, so moving on, let us start with the first slide, and that is types of cephalograms. See, before we move ahead and learn about cephalometry, we should be able to identify things, right? This can be useful if you are a final year student. It will be useful for your spotters. If you're preparing for your exams and you are giving the upcoming NEET MDS examination, you have to be thorough with it. Okay, so before we start with the analysis, before we start with the basic concepts, it is important you people are very clear with your initial part of it. Okay, that is like identification of cephalograms. So there are two types of cephalogram, frontal cephalogram and lateral cephalogram. The first figure which you see here is of a lateral cephalogram, because the lateral portion of the skull or the head or the dentofacial structure can be seen, and the second one over here is your frontal cephalogram. Okay, so cephalogram are of two types, lateral and frontal. Most commonly what we do in all the patients are lateral cephalograms. Okay, so these cephalograms, especially lateral cephalogram, is often taken in orthodontics. We take the cephalogram before we start with the treatment, in between the treatment, and even at the end of the treatment, so that we can compare how the treatment has progressed over a period of time. So lateral cephalogram is of prime importance in orthodontic treatment, right? The next thing which is seen here is a frontal cephalogram. Frontal cephalogram is something which is not always taken in all the patients. There are certain criteria where we need to take frontal cephalogram. For example, if there is a patient of asymmetry and if we want to assess facial asymmetry, in those cases a frontal cephalogram is of primary importance. Okay, so you should know how the cephalograms look. There are two types of cephalogram, lateral cephalogram and frontal cephalogram. The first figure is that of lateral cephalogram, which is most often taken in orthodontics to assess the treatment, and plus this is the cephalogram where we do all the analysis, right? All the analysis are based on lateral cephalogram. So all the analysis is done, we know how the patient is, what has to be done, how the treatment is progressing. Everything is assessed with the help of lateral cephalogram. Moving on. Now once we get a lateral cephalogram and we need to analyze it, so there has to be certain points based on which we can take measurements. If you want to measure an angle, if you want to measure a line, there has to be a landmark. Based on that landmark only you can do the study. Okay, so there are certain landmarks which are known as hard tissue landmarks, and there are certain landmarks which are soft tissue landmarks. Okay, so there are two types of landmarks, hard tissue and soft tissue. Hard tissue landmarks are denoted in short forms as shown in the figure. They have a full name, they have a particular definition. And soft tissue landmarks, they have a line, like suppose this is N, nasion is represented by N. If it is N, it is a hard tissue landmark. If we put this apostrophe kind of a dash, okay, it becomes a soft tissue landmark. So that is how you identify whether it is a hard tissue or a soft tissue landmark. Plus even in exam, if you are if they are mentioning or if they are asking you how do you represent a soft tissue pogonion, so pogonion is represented by POG, and if it is soft tissue then you just give this apostrophe kind of a thing, right? So just one thing, it is ending at the end. So this is how you represent hard tissue and soft tissue landmarks. These are few of the hard tissue landmarks as seen in the figure which you should know. Like for example, G is your or one landmark, N is another landmark. They are at different places. They have different points. They have a different definition. Okay, so your glabella and nasion, G is for glabella, N is for nasion. ANS, this ANS is your anterior nasal spine. It extends backward and ends as posterior nasal spine. So ANS, PNS is basically your palatal region. Then you have point A, point POG. POG is pogonion. Then comes nathion, menton, gonion, sella. Okay, this is gonion, this is sella. You have your Boltons, this is basion, articular. All these points are there. These are all your hard tissue landmarks. In final year or third year of BDS, you must have done identification of landmark followed by certain analysis. So identifying these landmarks are very important. Okay. Plus, you should know the definition of it not by heart, just for the sake of understanding. I will not be explaining you the definition because it can be read directly from the textbook. There is no use of me reading from the textbook the definitions or anything. Basically, hard tissue landmarks are something which you should know the name, you should be able to identify it, and you should be able to use it in an analysis. Okay, so you all can go through the definitions, you all can easily go through the textbook. There's no use of me just reading out the definitions for you. Okay, so these are few hard tissue landmarks which you should know. Once we have covered hard tissue, the next thing is your soft tissue landmark. So this is again soft tissue, glabella. ANS, PNS were your hard tissue. So you see this becomes your hard tissue. Do you see pogonion dash has come here? Because pogonion has a soft tissue landmark. Menton dash is also seen because menton has a soft tissue landmark. Okay, so this is how you will identify between hard tissue and soft tissue landmarks with the help of that hyphen or dash which is present extra on the soft tissue. All the soft tissue landmarks, hard tissue landmarks are something which you should know. Even if you are not very thorough with the definition, it is okay for your entrance examination. In entrance examination, that is your NEET MDS exam, even if you are not thorough with the definition, it's okay. But if you are a BDS student, yes, definitions would be asked to you in your examinations. And if you are an MDS or you are an ortho resident, you will be like automatically thorough with these definitions because you will be doing analysis for each and every patient. More number of patient, more analysis, so you are in and out thorough with all your hard tissue, soft tissue landmarks, all your planes and analysis, definitions, everything. Okay, so keeping in mind our entrance examination, let's move on. Now what happens? We have these set of landmarks. Landmarks are what? Points or a particular area which is denoted by a particular letter. Okay, so now when these landmarks are joined together, we get a plane. So landmark is a smaller entity, it's a particular point. When two points are joined together or two landmarks are joined together, what do we get? We get a plane. Planes can be horizontal or they can be vertical. Okay, so moving on, first is horizontal plane. First we will be seeing all the horizontal planes which we have. So the first plane which we see is this one, sella nasion. What is this? There are two landmarks, sella landmark, nasion landmark. When two landmarks get connected together with the help of a line, we get a plane, and this plane is known as your SN plane. Sella and nasion are getting joined together, so you get a SN plane. The next horizontal plane which we come across, so the first plane which you get is your FH plane. Okay, next plane, palatal plane. So let us see where the palatal plane is. Now palatal plane is a horizontal plane connecting two landmarks, that is your ANS and PNS, posterior nasal spine and anterior nasal spine. That is the points which from where your palate starts and where your palate ends. Okay, so that is ANS, PNS, complete definitions. Please take it from the textbook. I just want your funders to get clear over here. Okay, so the horizontal plane which we are seeing next is your palatal plane, which is represented by joining two landmarks, that is your ANS, PNS, anterior nasal spine and posterior nasal spine. Okay, the third plane is your mandibular plane. Let us just concentrate on these two words right now, that is mandibular plane. The plane which depicts your mandible is your mandibular plane. So what do we see here? The mandibular plane is drawn by joining two landmarks, that is gonion and nathion. Do you see from GO to GN a straight line is running, a dotted line was running. Okay, that is known as your mandibular plane. which is made by joining two landmarks GO to GN. Now, there were so many researchers, so many orthodontists doing a lot of work in the field. Okay, so they came up with different sets of mandibular plane because for them, maybe there was some defect in the previous plane, so they came up with a new plane for themselves. Right? They did studies and they found that this was more appropriate. The values which we were getting by using different landmarks were more authentic. Okay, so our three main pioneers, that is Downs, Steiners and Tweeds, these three people came up with their own set of mandibular plane. Okay, so the first one which we will see is the Steiner's mandibular plane. Steiner said that mandibular plane is said to be most appropriate and it will give most best values if we consider the landmarks gonion and gnathion. Okay, so gonion and gnathion were the two landmarks which were given by Steiner to depict his mandibular plane. So this can be asked in a Viva question. Tell me the landmarks for Steiner's mandibular plane. So it is GO to GN. GOGN is the mandibular plane which is depicted by Steiner's. Okay, so what did we see in this slide? We saw three set of horizontal planes. The first one was FH plane, which is drawn by using two landmarks, Sella and Nasion. The next was your palatal plane, which is depicted by ANS and PNS. The third thing which we saw here is Steiner's mandibular plane. He said that two landmarks are best, that is gonion and gnathion. Okay, next thing. Now, we have seen what Steiner said. Now, let us see what Downs said. According to Downs, gonion, when two landmarks, that is gonion and menton, are used and a line is drawn touching these two landmarks, the plane which we get is mandibular plane. Therefore, Downs' mandibular plane is represented by two landmarks, that is gonion and menton. Okay, so this is again one thing which you have to remember. You should know the three planes which were given by three authors and which were the landmarks used. So Downs used gonion menton. Steiner's used gonion and gnathion. So gonion was common for both of them. But one said menton and the other said gnathion. Third, there was one more author, Tweed. What did Tweed say? Tweed did not use either gonion, menton or gnathion. He said that my mandibular plane angle will be a tangent to the mandible. So what do? We draw a tangent to the mandible and the plane which we get becomes the Tweed's mandibular plane. I hope this is clear. So these were the horizontal lines or the horizontal planes. Now there is one more plane which is known as occlusal plane. Occlusal plane is a horizontal plane which is identified by joining the occlusal cusp of posterior teeth and the incisal edges of anterior teeth. Okay, now suppose we have this particular lateral cephalogram and we want to know where the occlusal plane is. So what do? We trace your central incisors, upper and lower. Suppose, and we have to trace our molars as well. So this is my lower molar and this is my upper molar. So what do? I draw a line touching the occlusal cusp of molars and incisal edges of my incisors. The plane which we get, the horizontal line which we get becomes my occlusal plane. So these are the four most commonly used horizontal set of planes. Okay, so one thing which you have to remember in mandibular plane, it was given by three people, Downs, Steiners and Tweeds. Downs said it is between gonion and menton. Steiner said gonion and gnathion, and Tweed came up with the tangent to the mandible. So these are few things which are extremely important. You should be very much thorough with it. First thing is your landmarks. Landmarks join together to make a plane. And when planes intersect each other, we get angles. We'll come back to that later. First, let us see vertical lines which are there. Okay, so if the lines are horizontal, we have seen. Now if the lines are vertical, let us see which landmarks are getting used. The first line which we see over here is an APOG line. So APOG meaning point A is used, and if you move down, Pogonion, it touches down to Pogonion. So when two landmarks, that is point A and Pogonion, are used, we get a vertical line which is known as an APOG line. Okay. The next vertical plane is your N Pogonion. Simple as the landmark represents. It runs from nasion and end up at pogonion. And this NPOG vertical line is known as your facial plane. Okay, not all the planes have a particular name. Some are just represented by the name of the landmark. Like we saw in the previous horizontal, all of them had a name. Okay, Frankfurt horizontal. Next was your ANS to PNS, that is your palatal plane. Next was your occlusal plane and mandibular plane. All the horizontal planes have a name. The landmarks which they are connecting is okay, but they all have a name. But in vertical, what do you see? All of them will not have a name. Some of them would be depicted directly by their landmarks, like apogonion, apog. So if it is asked what is an apog line, and landmarks are given there only. It is point and pogonion. Okay, but here we have a name. NPOG is your facial plane. Next vertical line is running from PTM to Nathion. So when PTM and Nathion, when these two landmarks are joined together, we get a vertical plane which is known as facial axis. N pogonion is your facial plane, PTM to Nathion is your facial axis. Students, please do not get confused in this. We have pogonion which is being used with apog, npog, everything. But do not get confused. These are all different set of vertical lines. The last line which we see over here is PN, which is known as pronasal. Pronasal is your soft tissue landmarks present at the tip of your nose. So this area which you see is your PN, which is known as pronasal. So when pronasal and pogonion dash, these two landmarks are identified and the line is drawn, we get an E plane. The name of this is your E plane. Pogonion dash we all saw. This was hard tissue pogonion and this is my soft tissue pogonion, and these are my vertical lines. So when pronasal and pogonion dash, these two landmarks are joined, we get E plane, and this E plane was given by Ricketts. So each and every author, what did they do? They came up with their own set of analysis, and these analysis consist of landmarks. Landmarks are joined together to make a plane, and when planes intersect we get angles, and based on this we analyze the situation of a patient on a lateral cephalogram. Okay, so these four vertical lines are something which you have to be extremely thorough with. These are extremely important. So first is apogonion, next was NPOG, which is known as facial plane, next is PTM to Nathion, which is known as your facial axis, and the last one is your E plane, okay, which was given by Ricketts, and it is identified by two landmarks, that is pronasal and pogonion dash. I hope that these things are clear to you. So you know how we tapered it down. First thing is your landmarks. Okay, landmark, identify a landmark. When you join two landmark, you get a plane. When planes intersect each other, you get an angle, and then based on these angles we do our analysis. All the cephalometric analysis are based on these. So once you are thorough with the basic, it becomes very easy for you people to do the analysis. But if you cannot identify the landmark, if you don't know the planes, how will you do the analysis? Okay, so first thing, take your own time, see this video 2 to 3 times so that you are extremely thorough with the landmarks and the planes. Okay, so I hope that this is clear to you. If it is clear, I think you should be able to attempt this little question which is put up here for you. Now quickly tell me, if you people can think when you are reading this video, when I am joining GO to GN, I get a mandibular plane. This mandibular plane was given by whom? GO to GN. Who gave this mandibular plane? If you have understood my previous slides, the answer must be there clicking in your brain right now. Next, if you know GO to GN was given by this person. Okay, fine. Now tell me, who gave GO to Menton? These two landmarks were joined together to become a mandibular plane, and this was given by whom? I am not telling you the answer. I'm sure you people know it if you have seen the video properly. In case you have not and you have directly come over here, please go back to the video and check out who gave this mandibular plane. This was just a small assessment so that you people can do it for yourself. You know that you're thorough with the landmarks now. Okay, so I think with this we can sum up our basic concepts in cephalometry, wherein what did we see? We saw the landmarks, hard tissue landmarks, soft tissue landmarks. Okay, when landmarks are joined together, what are we getting? We are getting a plane. Planes can be horizontal planes, planes can be vertical. So we saw the sella nasion, ANS, PNS, occlusal plane, mandibular plane. These are the four most important horizontal planes which we saw. What did we see next? We checked out the vertical plane, wherein we saw the E line, we saw A pogonion, PTM to nathion, and one more. Which one was that? We saw we saw N pogonion, that is your facial plane, N pogonion. Right, so these are all your horizontal and vertical lines, and this is basically the basics of cephalometry. Once you are done with this, I think we can easily proceed with the analysis. In case you were able to answer this question and you think you have the confidence of moving ahead, please check out my next video wherein we'll be analyzing each and every analysis in depth. Okay, so all the very best, students. I hope things are getting clear to you people. Cephalometry, I know, is a little difficult topic, but it is very easy once you understand it, like all other topics. Okay, so please give a little extra effort, a little extra time on this topic, and based on that we'll be moving on to the higher side of orthodontics, where tough topics would be taken, because cephalometry is basically considered to be an undergraduate topic. That is why you do it in third year and fourth year, and but this is not sufficient for your NEET MDS preparation. So we'll be covering more higher topics, tougher topics, difficult ones are waiting ahead for you. Before we get into that, be very thorough with the basics of cephalometry. You can go through the definitions from the textbook, but definitions are not asked word by word in exams. You should be able to identify the landmark, planes, so that we can move on to angles. Okay, so the next video which you'll be seeing, which would be coming up, would be your analysis, cephalometric analysis. Each analysis would be covered in depth. Okay, so if there is any doubt, please feel free to write down your comments, write down your doubts in the comment section below, and I will definitely revert back. Okay, so thank you, students. Have a great day and all the very best with your preparations. Thank you.